So it's very important that you understand the deeper meaning of this time right now. It's about reviewing, clearing out, removing the unnecessary, letting go of the old. Those are the things that block us. Those are the things that create schisms in us. Yeah, they create inner conflicts in us because we wanted them to be true so badly. And this is just a softer way of describing what an illusion is. An illusion is us wanting something, projecting something, but not actually following through with our energy. Welcome, everybody, to the Energy Update here on Fridays and Skype Live. My name is Jona Bryndis. I'm an energy healer, energy coach, and trainer. And together we're going to explore the energies that are already coming in for this next week. Yes, we meet every Friday here on Skype Live. I'm in my healing tent in the Florida outdoors. So the background noises that you hear are currently crickets and some other nature noises. So I hope this is not disturbing for you. We are talking about the things that are coming in that we are feeling already that is sometimes hard to discuss with people. So just let me walk you through what is already coming in here for this big next week, 38, which is covering the times or the days starting tomorrow, September the 17th till the 23rd. This is a big week, guys. It's also the equinox week, and I want to spend a few moments here before I go into the power of illusion, as I called this energy update, to just attune you to what the equinox actually is and why people like me point this out. So everything in nature, everything in life really has sort of an in-breath and an out-breath, and inflation and a deflation. Yes, and when we go through these seasonal changes, right, we will see similar cycles here. Okay, so we see spring when everything sort of rises, out of the earth. It was this sort of undercover, throughout the winter and spring, everything comes up. Then in summer, it's the full outbreath of that life force. And in fall and autumn, we go into this sort of holding pattern, similar as we have in spring, where things are starting to come to their fruition. They're maturing and dying off to go back into the deeper earth, go back into the inside for winter. So what most people don't understand is that the winter time is actually the one where we are connected with ourselves the most. All right, it's the undercover, it's the inside job, it's the in-breath. It's where we take the life force from the earth and ingest it. And spring and fall are basically those times in between the in-breath and the out-breath, the moment where you can hold your breath to increase your capacity, to increase your space. And spring, that would be for you guys in the southern hemisphere right now, is the time where you hold in before you breathe out. So you're creating the space with which you're going to grow. And in fall, this is us here in the northern hemisphere, we're holding our breath to allow the review of the past, to learn from the past, to look at all the things that need to be cleaned up before winter time. So the equinox is a very important shift change, that is often underestimated. We often focus on the solstices, because they are like the actual change between the in and the out breath. But the transition times, the fall and the spring, they are the times where we basically create the space. This is where we can manifest the most. Because whatever you see as crops growing in the summertime were planted in the spring. And whatever the fruits are that you're harvesting and the soil that you're preparing for next year's harvest, that happens in the fall, all right, came from the previous cycle, from the summer. So I want you to understand that these equinox times are very important manifestation times. And right now, and this is something that we've discussed here many times in the ongoing energy talks, energy updates, true self talks, etc., we are in the middle of a bigger cycle, bigger transition, and that is the old versus the new, if you will, a new paradigm of thinking, a new paradigm of being, a new paradigm of choosing. Yeah. And this can be discomforting at this time. So here in the middle of September, approaching the equinox, yeah, in which we will hold our breath, our job is to clear out what has served its purpose. Yeah, it's a very good time for a physical cleansing, not just through diet, also through routines, yeah, through watching, what it is that you allow yourself, the habits that you have, the activities that you do, if they're conducive for you or not, because based on these choices right now, yeah, 6 months from now, you're going to see the results of that. It will limit or expand, yeah, your ability to manifest what you want to reap later. And so it's very important that you understand the deeper meaning of this time right now. It's about reviewing, clearing out, removing the unnecessary, letting go of the old. What are the things that we are struggling with? Those are the things that we're holding on to. Those are the things that we want to be true. We want them to be so that as we kind of created them in our heads, but perhaps didn't do the detail work for it, or our expression didn't match up with it, which is now like a weed, if you will. It didn't go anywhere. It didn't produce anything. Those are the things that block us. Those are the things that create schisms in us. Yeah, they create inner conflicts in us because we wanted them to be true so badly. And this is just a softer way of describing what an illusion is. An illusion is us wanting something, projecting something, but not actually following through with our energy. Maybe sabotaging ourselves or justifying things, blaming onto others, telling ourselves stories. And there are some of these stories that reach farther than just this sort of yearly cycle. They reach into the cycle of your life and perhaps also your past incarnations, your ancestors. So right now we have this really, really deep reveal of what these illusions were, these narratives, these stories that we told ourselves or that were told to us over and over again, until we forgot that they were based on lies. Where do we see those kind of things? This is the reflection on collective energies right now. You see this in conjunction with everything that is going on in the United Kingdom with the passing of the Queen. You see this in regards to the COVID narrative. You see this with the political narratives that have been repeated over and over and over again, but without anything following through. It's a form of mind control, yeah, where we are being sort of groomed, conditioned into believing something that we ourselves have never actually thought through, felt through ourselves. And that, when that comes to your awareness, it's discomforting. It creates an inner schism. Psychologists would call it a cognitive dissonance. There's a part of you that recognizes that this isn't true. This can happen with your own projections as well. But then there's another part of you that wants it to be true. And that can create a huge problem. The cool thing about this time right now is that this is coming to us in a way that we can learn from it. It's not just supposed to smack you in the head. No, it's supposed to help you to refine your own manifestation process. Yeah, anybody who likes gardening, you know how important it is to remove weeds. They take away the nutrients, they take away the energy from the other plants. Yeah, or think of invasive plants, yeah, that take over. Yeah, some of the vines that literally choke other plants, the kinds that you wanted, the kinds that you planted, yeah, your goals, your higher goals. So this new paradigm of thinking that I'm referring to, that we've been discussing here in workshops and energy talks and so forth, has to do with you getting past this discomfort. Has to do with you wanting truth more than whatever the illusion was that you wanted to be true. Why do we need to do this? Because everything that is not true needs to go. It needs to go. This is the sign of times. This is the era in which we're in. This is what this big reset, big transformation, whatever word you put into this place means. Everything that has been proven to be toxic, to be abusive, self-destructive, yeah, or simply not working out as planned needs to be removed and replaced, needs to evolve, needs to improve. And those of you who have a hard time with, really wrapping your spiritual mind around this, you need to understand that true spirituality is not to believe in anything in particular. True spirituality, yeah, or spiritual realism, as I sometimes call it, is the belief in evolution, the belief in constant improvement, the inner knowing that there is a plan, that there is a order with which we all grow and improve. And in that way, we can look at times like this, where it's maybe challenging for us to resolve some of these schisms, where we block ourselves because we don't want to admit to ourselves that we have been lying to ourselves, or we don't want to admit to ourselves that, whatever we wanted to be so true, maybe the relationship, we wanted it to be the one, yeah, or the new job that we started, or the new house that we bought, or the new area that we moved into, the new friends that we have. Yeah, this is something that we need to be willing to review. Is this conducive for me? The word conducive comes from conduit. And conduit, as you know, is a channel, is a carrier, is a road. It's something that connects you with something else. And if that conduit is blocked, you're not going to be able to tap into whatever this pathway is wanting to connect you to. And now you might ask yourself, what is that? What is it connecting me to? And this is actually the good news about this time right now, because you've heard me say this many times. What is the end of illusion? The end of illusion is the confrontation with the untruth. It is something that comes directly out of this divine consciousness that has brought us into existence. The connection that you're seeking is with truth. And I want to let you know that without truth, there is no freedom. So many of you are looking for freedom, more individualism, more self-expression, more this and that, so that you can feel more self-sustained. And there is something very important in that. But without truth, none of what you're building there is actually based on truth. And the way you can tell if something is not based on truth is by, let's say, the number of inner schisms, the number of cognitive dissonances that you have about that, the amount of critical inner voice that you have, yeah, that keeps sort of plaguing you with maybe it's not true. So the critical inner voice can be very blocking, very destabilizing for us, and sometimes it is something that needs to be worked through as part of your inner self-exploration, because not all of your critical inner voice is actually coming from yourself. 80% roughly of your negative inner self-talk is like more like a recording from the past or something from the outside. Yeah, you've absorbed this from the outside. That's something that requires a little bit of self-awareness and discipline to weed yourself through that. But these 20% of your critical inner voice that remind you of your virtues, that remind you of your integrity, that remind you of your conscience, sometimes even your guilt, those aspects are healthy. Those aspects are the ones that allow you to cut through untruths, to cut through your illusions. And the tool we need to focus on in order to be able to do that consciously ourselves, yeah, is the power of focus, the power of us staying on target, the task, the inner taskmaster. We need to be able to know what it is that we truly want and weed out all the things that distract us from it. Okay? And a critical inner voice, a cognitive dissonance, is a major distractor. For most of you, it's the main issue that you're having. It's not your knowledge, it's not your lack of awareness, it's not your lack of energetic sensitivity or a lack of empathy. No, it's the inner schisms. So for you to actually get into this freedom that you are striving for and all those higher goals such as true love, healing, abundance, yeah, and health and wealth, you need truth. Without truth, there is no freedom. And if your thoughts are dominated by something somebody else says or something you keep bombarded or spoon-fed with through media, you're thinking your thoughts aren't free. And everything that you built on that ain't free either. So self-sustainability, yeah, as a measuring tool of freedom doesn't quite work. If you can't tell within yourself, there's a matter of your self-perception, if you're actually being true to yourself, if this is actually based on your own thoughts, your own feelings, and your own choosings. So this next week, guys, is all about clarifying. Clarify, clarify, clarify. Everything that is not true needs to go. This can be a good time for you to do accounting that you've been procrastinating, or to do a house cleaning, or a body cleansing, or a clearing, an energetic clearing, anything that helps you to purify your own views, your own self-perception, because that is where you are the most vulnerable. That is also where you are being the most manipulated. Yeah, so there's a reason why I keep talking about mind control, because most of you aren't in control of your thoughts. If 80% of your thoughts are not yours, all right, then where does truth fit in there? Okay, where does your ability to discern truth, where should that grow? Yeah, if you have to deal with, that amount of thoughts, beliefs, mindsets, and so forth that aren't even yours, or that you're deceiving yourself with, wanting things to be true. So conscious choices, this is what we started out this year with. They require you to have a very clear and free thinking and very pure intentions. You really need to know what it is that your core need is and what your higher wants are, what your higher goals are. You need to know what you stand for. Otherwise, this next week can be very, very challenging for you because there's so much bombardment from the outside coming in, guys. This isn't going to end. This is going to, go into like a little sort of, now how can I call this, climax by the end of September and the beginning of October, and then continue on throughout winter and spring into the end of March when we have the next equinox. Yeah, so see this like a time capsule, all right? Understand that these distractions that you are suffering from, that they are the ones that keep you from being able to discern truth. And that's why you need to make that a priority. One word in regards to relationships, because I mentioned something in the forecast along the lines of very conflict-rich days, perhaps even sort of domestic violence or a very sort of intense fights with your partners. This is the time where you want to lay low. You're gonna have to put into account that your partner is going through the same challenge as you are, and sometimes things don't come out right. And yes, this doesn't give the other it doesn't excuse, it doesn't give the other the right to be abusive or to be, rude in their choice of words. But there is something about this energy in this next week. We're going against it, all right, will just make it worse. Okay, so this week, until I would say the 24th, 26th, okay, you don't want to escalate fights with your loved ones. This could also be in regards to your families. There could be controversies, disagreements within your family. So don't go further into it. Lay low, all right? Understand that we're all in this together right now. We're all confronted with our own inner untruths, yeah, our illusions. And some people will not let that go, will not even become able to see how much they're projecting into this. And your job here, yeah, is not to win. It's not to go into competition with this. Your job is to balance that, but not by sucking it up. No, by going into neutrality, by recognizing whom you're talking to. If the person you're talking to has different values than you, yeah, if, for example, capitalism is a very good example, and all the things that we experience along with this in our societies, consumerism and so forth. If your value is to maximize your income, no matter what this requires from others, okay, then, and you personally have different values. For you, it's important to do something with meaning, yeah, or with purpose, or even perhaps something that is for the greater good. Of course, you're going to run into controversies with people who are just out there for profit. That is in the nature of things. Your guys' values don't line up. Why are you then taking on their projections? You know where they're coming from. You know the color glasses they're wearing. You don't have to take those on. So the energetic aspect of that is the problem with projection into absorption. So the more you want something to be true, the more you project it out. And the more you project it out, the more vulnerable you become for other things to project onto you. It creates an imbalance in you. Neutrality is the skill to hold in, yeah, to hold your breath for a moment and feel into it before you respond. The opposite of dealing with things in this neutral way would be to react immediately, and reactivity will not really help you to weed out those illusions this next week. You're gonna have to make a conscious effort, and yes, it's work, but that doesn't mean that it has to be uncomfortable. Even if I use words such as challenging or discomforting, because if you focus on your core needs, for example, your physical health, or clearing out your closets, or doing the things that you have been procrastinating all this time, you're going to feel like $1,000,000. And why is that? Because you've shown to yourself, you've proven to yourself that you can follow through. Yeah, even if it is something that makes you cringe a little bit. For some of you, it's, actually having this confrontation, to actually start having that conversation that you've been procrastinating, about certain things that need to be clarified in your relationship or at work, or that simply just need to be expressed so that you can move on without this burden. Or it comes forward in regards to, your inner conflicts with your own routines. So many of you have phenomenal knowledge about foods and nutrition, but don't follow through with this. And some of you hard warriors had to listen to me reminding them on this. Food is supposed to provide you with life force. Food is not some quantitative, calories, macronutrients thing. Food is supposed to be a life. And if food is a life, which are fruits and vegetables, even meat to a certain degree, and you're eating this, you're nurturing yourself with that, all right, then you're going to feel an increase in your energy. You're automatically starting to move toward more health, toward, more vibrancy. That's why the diet and nutrition plays a major role in spirituality, because there is no amount of energy work or fancy techniques or whatever that can help you if you have habits, daily routines, okay, that work against your inner vibrancy, that work against your inner truth. You have to follow through. And this is then tying you back into the overall theme for September, namely trust. How can I learn to trust in myself more? Exactly like that. By following through. And following through not just with some mindsets or beliefs or narratives or stories that you're telling yourself. No. With what you truly stand for. And even if you don't know exactly how to get there, that's all right. The effort, the attempt to clear it out, to work with it, to actually do it, is already going to increase your vibratory rate. It's already going to raise your vibes, okay? One more thing here in regards to the equinox and why I'm talking about balancing. This has a lot to do with masculine and feminine energies. And there's a huge problem in our society right now, and that has to do with, what does it mean to be a woman? What does it mean to be a man? Yeah. And are we truly equal? These different waves of feminism and, equality, mutuality, these things have to be clarified for us. If we, I'm talking as a woman right now, go out into the world, and resort to our masculine powers, trying to more or less being the better man, all right, then we're going to have a schism in us when it comes to us wanting to go into a more nurturing role, into our role as mothers, into a role as caretakers, homemakers, which, if you're truly honest to yourself, and I'm saying this as a woman, is also a core need. Yeah? And the same applies to man. There's a huge confusion about what it means to be a man. And yes, there is a need to bring in more softness and to connect more with your feminine energies. But that doesn't mean that you need to deny being a guy, being a man. All right? So this is something that needs to be balanced out. And right now, that's why relationships are under fire right now, okay? Because it shows in our sociology, it shows in our relationships. There have never been so many single households as right now. There has never been so little or low birth rates as right now. There's never been so little connection and relationshiping between people than today. That's concerning, guys, because what that means is that we are confused. We're not sure, as humans, what defines us. And that's why, well, confronting ourselves with our illusions and really recognizing how big that power is that is influencing our inner narratives, our inner deceptions and illusions. It can even confuse us in regards to how we feel as a man or a woman, how we feel in regards to our general approach to life. This needs to be balanced out. It's very, very important that we understand this. This obviously got exacerbated through the whole COVID time, where it became, sort of the new thing, to work from home, to not even see people anymore. This is a big warning for all of you. So take this next week to reflect on all these things, depending on which level you want to uncover truths. Okay, recognize that there are bigger cycles that we are in, not just your personal cycle, and also understand that you're not alone. So many of us are having this brain fog right now and having difficulties knowing what to bring to expression. We're confused. And if this is something or similar that you're experiencing, then please comment here. Please let us know how this plays out for you, either in retrospect, maybe after this week is over with, or just in general, what it is that you're struggling with, that you uncover as your inner truth, but maybe don't know how to deal with it. I monitor the comments, so you'll always get a response. If not from me, I'm sure many of you active self-healers are willing to respond. Thank you very much for walking through next week's energies. You see, they are big and they're complex. All right. So happy uncovering your own illusions. Don't beat yourself up. Remember, neutrality, balance. Yeah. And work to the future, which is, clean slate. See you next week, guys. Bye-bye.